What's up, guys? Bumlock here. So, Tomb is coming pretty soon, a couple weeks. What I wanted to do today was just kind of go over a few things that I think you should really try and do before Tomb comes out. So I got 10 things here that I want to talk about that I really think you should put your focus on to try and get done before Tomb of Sargeras comes out. It's really going to help. Coming in at number 10, you absolutely want to finish your Legionfall campaign as well as getting your class mount and at least just have flying at a minimum. It's pretty standard now for flying. The requirements have been dumbed down. You don't need to do the assault anymore. I think all you need to do is just be exalted with armies of the Legionfall and have done Broken Isles Pathfinder Part 1 and then explore the Broken Isles. So not much to do there. Make sure you get it done. It's going to make everything else on this list a lot easier. But that should be your first priority if you don't have flying. Then you want to work on your Legionfall campaign, get your class mount. Do this for any alts as well, too. You want to make sure that you're getting that done. You want to do it soon, though, because some of these quests, if you haven't started at all, some of them are time-gated. So, for example, there's one part of the quest chain where you have to do like 10 or 12 Broken Shores missions. So that can be lengthy, especially if, it could take you a couple days if there's not already 12 missions on the map, which there usually aren't. So, and there's another one where you have to do a couple class hall missions that are on the Broken Shore. So just get that one out of the way, and then and you'll be good to go. Coming in at number 9, my big suggestion, kind of related to number 10, is you want to save your Legion resources. Save the resources that you get when you do your turn-ins to contribute towards the towers. Because there are new legendaries, it's going to be very important that you save these, because you can actually give yourself about 10 chances when the patch comes out to get one of those new legendaries, like the ring or one of the set pieces. And I think those set pieces, because they are shared across different specs, it might not be a bad idea when the patch hits to actually switch to a spec that you would have higher bad luck protection on, just so you can give yourself an increased chance of getting maybe the ring or whatever armor piece you want. But then you do run the risk of getting something that you might not want. So it is a gamble there, but it is definitely going to help you. You can save up to 1k resources right now, so that may take you a little while, probably for the next couple weeks. Maybe you can do it a few days. I'm not exactly sure, depending on how many quests there are. If you do cap out, I would suggest just buying one of the bags and just hold it in your inventory until the patch comes out, and then open it up on the patch day when there's new legendaries available. Okay? All right, coming in number 8, I think you should get on the PTR and try out some of your new talents. I know there's a lot of class changes. There's a lot of ability changes, artifact trait changes. There's a lot of stuff. There's new legendaries, and you can get out on the PTR and test that right now. So I would definitely suggest, if there are things changing for your class, whether it's Warlock or some other thing, I would get on the PTR and I would test them out. That way you're establishing, sort of an idea of what you want to do in the next patch. Especially if you're like a Mythic or Heroic Raider, it's going to be very helpful. Downloading the PTR is actually pretty simple. I think you have to go to your account first on Battle.net and opt into the program, or just put it on your account or something. Then you'll get like a new drop down on the Blizzard launcher, and you can start the install there. But once the install starts, you can actually just cancel the download and just copy your entire World of Warcraft folder over onto the new directory you just made, or the new path rather, and then you can just wait for that to happen. It's a lot quicker than waiting for the entire 40 gigabyte install. So that's what I would suggest. Definitely get on there. You want to build the muscle memory early if you're going to be doing a new rotation or playing new talent. So definitely going to be beneficial to you. Coming in number 7, you want to try and stockpile as many materials, crafting materials, as you can before the patch comes out. And this is because all the raiders are going to be looking for flasks and food and stuff. Now, this can be beneficial if you are a raider, or maybe if you're just a gold farmer. I'm sure gold farmers are already well aware of this, but maybe, you're just getting into it. You want to take advantage of right now the auction house prices. You want to take advantage of cheap fish, cheap food, cheap, gems or whatever. Take advantage of that stuff. That way you can save it to either use it, or you can sell it for a pretty big profit. I would suggest just saving everything, making a bunch of flasks and food, so fish is going to be very valuable as well. And then you can put it up on the auction house like the first week that Heroic comes out, or like the first week of the raid on that Tuesday, or you can wait until Mythic comes out and you'll probably get a lot of buyers then as well. Coming in number 6, this is pretty underrated but I can't tell you how valuable this is and how useful you will become to your raid. You definitely want to look up the fights, especially if you're a mythic or heroic raider. You want to look up the fights in Tomb of Sargeras, every single one of them. And you want to look at people that have put some attempts on the boss, and you look at it from your point of view. This is going to help your raid tremendously. This is probably the single best thing that you can do outside of making your character strong and looking up your rotation and sims and all that stuff. Knowing the fight is going to increase your DPS a ton. Any real mythic raider will tell you that. Okay, you will become so much more valuable to your raid if you know the fight, and if you can provide some input like, hey, I saw this, why don't we try this? You're going to progress a lot faster if you know all the fights, and especially if your entire guild knows the entire fights, you're going to have a good time. Coming in at number 5, I would suggest, if again you are looking at raiding, that you want to craft all of your enchants and get all your gems that you're going to use ahead of time, especially the really expensive 200 stat gem. That thing can cost upwards of 20k. I don't know if the price is going to go up. I would guess that it would, because it usually does. But if you can buy that now and get it out of the way, then when you get a nice, Titan Forged trinket that has a socket in it, you're good to go. I wouldn't suggest using this on like heroic gear. I would kind of wait, or you can stockpile 2 sets. This is what I'm going to use for my heroic gear. This is what I'll use for my mythic gear. Either way, you're going to save a lot of money and a lot of time doing this ahead of time. Number 4, you definitely want to save your bonus roll tokens, okay? I have, I think, 5 saved up right now. You can have, I think, if I'm doing everything correctly in my head, the day that the raid comes out, you can have 10 to 11 tokens ready to go. You can have 6 in your inventory, okay? You can have 3 ready to purchase. And then I think you can have 2 to 3 more from class hall missions, like one from Emerald Nightmare and one from the Nighthold. When you can, if you do over 100%, up to 200%, you can have a higher chance to get the extra token. I don't know if there's one for TOV. I don't think I've ever seen one. Maybe there is. But so you can definitely have 9 ready to go, and then 10 or 11. I don't think 12. Maybe it's 11 for that day. And you want to save these for bosses that you definitely want to use it on heroic that week, because you can get 3 the next week. You can either use it for just every boss, or you can use it on bosses that drop tier or trinkets or really important relics. That would be my suggestion. You could even be, if I don't know if you're trying to go try hard, but you could also join other groups on your server, or maybe your guild's going to re-clear it for just bonus roll. You can get creative, but definitely want to save up those bonus roll tokens, because really there's nothing really right now that's going to help you. If you've killed 10 out of 10, if you're still progressing on other bosses, maybe it's still useful to you, but I would still suggest, because the rate is so close, just to save them. That way you can get that beta gear a lot quicker, okay? Coming in at number 3, you absolutely, preferably, you want to get Concordance in all 3 specs, but at a very minimum, you want at least 1 spec, and the 1 spec that you're going to play in Tomb of Sargeras. This is a huge DPS increase, huge healer increase. It's pretty much standard at this point, now that we have Artifact Knowledge 40. I'm sure that if you are a person that's looking for a new guild, or already in a mythic raiding guild, or even a heroic raiding guild, I'm pretty sure just by passively playing the game that you have Concordance. So if there's other specs that you are going to play, you definitely want to aim to get Concordance in all 3 specs. And listen, having this done ahead of time is going to save you a lot of time on progression. You're going to be doing a lot more damage to the boss. You're going to be doing a lot more effective healing, and you're just become more valuable to your raid. And you may run into a situation where a different spec might give your raid a slight advantage on a certain mechanic. So having the ability to be flexible in that way is going to be extremely, extremely valuable. And we haven't exactly got the final notes yet. So there could be a new PTR that comes out, or some new hidden patch notes that completely make 1 spec vastly superior. And you want to be ready for that just in case. So you want to be yourself prepared. Now, if you already have all 3 in Concordance, I would actually suggest saving your AP in your bank, just so on that patch day you can see which spec is actually going to be the best. If you're a DPS, if you're a healer, you probably already know what you're going to do. But if you're a DPS, and if there's a spec that just for some reason gets a crazy buff at the last minute, I don't think that they'll do that, but it's possible. I don't think it would be a bad idea to save your AP just to be sure. You're not really losing much. Once you have Concordance, it's a really big increase, but the other points beyond it are minimal. So you're not losing much by being a couple points behind on Concordance, before this new raid. So it might not be a bad idea, but something to consider. Coming in at number 2, you absolutely want to make sure that you spread your AK Knowledge 40 to any alts that you might play. You want to make sure that, at a minimum, that you've at least upgraded their artifact weapon to get to the point where it can go past 25 and it can get the extra traits. There's really no reason not to. If there's any alt that you're going to play on the side, maybe you just want to play for fun, or it might actually be viable as a switch to the raid, or if your guild is doing split runs, this is something you absolutely want to do for any alts that you might play in the future. Maybe something happened, you don't want to play your class anymore. You want to have that ready, so get it done before it's too late, or that way you don't have to waste time later. I would definitely suggest that. It's also a good point to do that sooner than later because of the artifact challenge skins. From what I understand from Blizzard, they're going to make it not available to obtain after Legion, and they're just going to become transmog. So if there's a class like the Berambe where you want to get that Guardian tank Druid skin, you want to make sure you do that before this expansion is over. I don't know if that's confirmed. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I'm pretty sure they said that they're not going to be obtainable anymore after Legion, and it's just going to go to transmog. So you want to make sure you take care of that. Any alts that you want to keep that on in the future. So coming in at number 1, and this is probably the single most important thing that you could do before Tomb comes out, and that's to obtain Cutting Edge on GUL'DAN and Helya at any cost. Okay? I'm going to reiterate this. This is probably the single most important thing that you can do before Tomb releases. And let me explain to you why. In terms of longevity in the game, there's always this unspoken thing about, how do I put this in a good way? People move around a lot, and people always want to try and be the best. Well, what do you have to do when you want to be the best? You have to apply to the best guilds, which means that you have to be, quote unquote, one of the best players, right? And how do you become one of the best players? Or how do you make it look like you're one of the best players? Or how can you prove without them knowing who you are and having never talked to you that you're one of the best players? Well, you have these achievements that say, I sat through progression, I can sit through these fights, I can do mechanics, and I can do them on time, and I can be competitive, okay? There's a really big unspoken truth to that, right? Maybe some people don't care. Maybe some guilds don't care. Maybe some guilds care more about logs. It's probably true. But, maybe later in the line, maybe you are with your guild and something happens 6 months from now and you have to find a new guild and you still want to be competitive at the top. How are you going to prove to these people that you can be competitive? Why should they take you over somebody else? Having these achievements, Cutting Edge, are really going to help you later on in the game to prove that you can do what you say you can do. So, getting Cutting Edge at any cost that you can. Now, that may be difficult for some people. Maybe you haven't made it all the way to GUL'DAN. Maybe you're still progressing on other bosses. That's fine. You have a couple options. Now, some people may not like this, but you have to just weigh how important this is to you. You could, I could have the mechanics wrong, but I'm pretty sure you could do this. You could find someone that is willing, on your server, of course, that is willing to give you a save to Mythic GUL'DAN, whether you maybe have to pay them or, work that out on your own. Now, maybe you're a guild that's only killed Croesus. You've killed Scorp and Chromatic and Trilliax, and you're working on Croesus, or maybe you're working on Spellblade. My suggestion to you, and again, this may be unpopular, my suggestion to you is for the next 2 weeks that you stop doing those bosses and you go put time on Mythic GUL'DAN. Now, this may be impossible for you, for your guild, you may think. But if you're not going to get it anyway, then what was the harm, right? Now, that is a very difficult boss. It's going to take you about 100 50 to 200 pulls to kill it, but getting the cutting edge before it goes away forever will definitely be worth it. Okay. Now that's one way to do it. You could also take this opportunity to find a new guild. Maybe the guild you're in with has been stuck at Star Augur for months and they're not going anywhere. Maybe you need to reevaluate what you're doing and find a guild that you want to play with that can get you this achievement. I don't know. You have a couple options there, but it's definitely something prestigious that right now may not seem important. And maybe, again, some people won't agree with me. But for the longevity of the game, having this kind of stuff is helpful to you if you want to become that top player. It's definitely going to help you, plead your case if you're trying to explain to one of the top guilds in the world why they should pick you. So, anyways, that's all I got. Hopefully this helped some of you. Hopefully this gave you guys some ideas on some things to do. Let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas or something I missed or something you felt that should have been here. I felt that these are some pretty good points. There's a couple others, but I feel like these are definitely a top 10 of stuff that you want to make sure you get done. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. We've hit almost, I think, 1,200 subscribers now. This is awesome. It's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your support. You haters that are still out there, you guys are funny. I should make a video talking about the funny things you guys say to me. You guys are funny. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you comment, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I got some cool stuff coming up for Tomb of Sargeras. I'm going to have full class guides coming out. I'm going to try and do all 3 specs for Warlock. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably let the people that are Masters of Destruction and Masters of Demo take care of that. Not saying that I'm a Master of Affliction, but I think I can provide some valuable input to somebody. I'll have a class guide about that. We'll have some cool stuff coming up in Tomb of Sargeras. I'm going to do full raid leader point of views of every boss. So if you guys haven't watched my GUL'DAN video, that's kind of how it's going to be. It's going to be a series called Bumlock Breakdown. We'll go from there. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.